What's that hat, Colin?
The team that's trying to fight off the well, I guess they're who are they? The Twins now? The Seattle Pilots.
Oh, the Brewers.
Brewers, yes.
Oh, that's a cool
I know
hat.
it's a team in the middle of the country.
That's
But yeah,
odd timing. I just finished ball 4 a couple weeks ago.
Oh, right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Duh. Yeah, I'm wearing it because I want Seattle to hold off Houston.
Yeah.
And I barely ever wear this hat, so I was like, all right, that's a good reason.
I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. They only did one season, just 1969.
Yep.
Yeah, it was disastrous.
It wasn't too bad.
Well, from a financial.
Oh,
standpoint.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah. The team wasn't as bad.
Oh, crazy. Wow.
If you haven't read ball 4, I highly recommend it.
Yeah, you finished it now,
Yeah.
Matt?
It was pretty good.
Nice.
Also, didn't realize that Jim Bowden also invented Big League Chew.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Man,
Yeah.
I fucking loved that shit when we were like, I don't know, 10 years old.
I was in a novelty candy store over the weekend and saw like 7 flavors. Holy shit.
Oh, I bet we have that out
so
here.
many different ones now.
Wow, that's hilarious. Okay. Yeah, there's in Boulder and in Fort Collins, there's like a famous like kind of novelty candy store. And I can't remember if I went in with either of you guys when you were out here, but now I kind of want to go and get some Big League Chew. It was in the strips, right? Wasn't it like the long, thin strips and stuff?
Yeah, it mimics tobacco.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I definitely did not know that as a kid. That's
well,
funny.
I guess they did
It comes in a pouch. Come on, Ethan.
I just thought it was tasty and fun fun to eat. That was it.
I guess maybe I shouldn't expect childhood Ethan to know ins and outs of tobacco.
And I was so fucking innocent and sweet as a kid. So, ask my mom. She loved it. She misses those days.
I bet.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. now I'll like, well, I probably shouldn't talk about this on the podcast, but let's just say the language that I will commonly use in front of my mother makes my father go, "Oh, that's a nice thing to say to your mother." And I go, "She can handle it." She would tell me if she didn't like it.
I was going to say, I think your mom could dish just as much as you could if you know.
Oh yeah.
Shout out Ethan's mom.
My partner refers to her as. Did I tell you guys this? My partner refers to her as General Tenzer. Yeah. And then my dad is Daddy Ertz. I don't think I've told Jeremy this yet. Jeremy will probably appreciate that. But yeah, General Tenzer, I think pretty obvious. That's kind of like the her version of the commish of Colin.
I was say you've got
being the
guys...
commish. The commish and General Tenzer are a pretty formidable duo. Pretty scary.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, you know what? They should run. They should be the ticket for 2024. Either direction is fine with me. Commission General Tenzer 2024. Let's do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, they're younger than.
I know. By a lot. Fucking crazy. Oh man. Anyways,
so before we get into the beers, do you guys think runs per game is a good category for offense?
I feel like there's got to be something like OPS plus for a team, something that like averages out, that takes into account the ballpark and the league average and blah 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 blah. I feel like there's got to be something like that.
Okay.
That would probably be the best, but runs per game is probably a good starting point.
Yeah, I think
for team
right
OPS.
Yeah, I think for right now it's the best I can get. We're trying to figure out the best offenses in the league in comparison to last year, just as a starting point for a conversation. It's looking at this when I was sorting it. It's teamrankings.com. I'm hoping it's a accurate thing. Again, Baltimore 1, Yankees 2. Baltimore scores 5.12 runs per game. The Yankees score 5, which is crazy to think about. Minnesota scores 5, and then everyone else is below that. But if you sort by 2023, there is Atlanta coming to the top. They finished with 4.33 runs per game for the season, and the Yankees are all the way down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th from last. The only teams that were worse.
Oof.
or excuse me, Atlanta scored 5.75 runs per game last year. I was looking at this season. The Yankees scored 4.15 runs. The only teams that were worse were Cleveland. That makes sense before they found the power this year. Detroit, obviously terrible. Miami was like the luckiest playoff team in the world. And the bottom two you could probably guess pretty easily. Chicago, the White Sox, and Oakland.
Yep, that's what I was going to say, yeah.
I think it's at least a good starting point.
Yeah, definitely.
If you're looking at just team OPS, Dodgers and O's, both tied, .773.
Okay. For this season, you mean, right?
For this season, yeah.
Just
okay.
OPS?
Yeah, just OPS. Relatively close until you get to walks. The Dodgers have walked 100 more times than the O's, but the O's have like 75 more hits.
Okay.
Oh, 75 more total bases, excuse me. They have the same amount of hits.
Surprisingly, this list I'm looking at. Oh no, this is right. So you have to. I just went on to the grounded into double plays per game. Guess who leads that? All the way at the bottom.
Yankees.
Yeah.
That was an easy one. Come on.
Yeah, San Diego's actually number 2.
Okay.
Who I've recently fallen in love with again, and I'm sure they're going to be terrible. So because last year, I remember we were watching a Sunday night game. They were playing the Braves, and they killed them. And I was like, I'm all in on San Diego. They obviously had a pretty rough season, like the Yankees did. So,
well, but you know what I wonder about? I wonder because for me, it would make like perfect sense if the Padres like went to the NLCS this year, or maybe even won the pennant. Because last year they were unbelievably loaded, right? Everybody thought like, okay, they are legit World Series contenders. They had at the beginning of the year, right? They still had Soto, obviously Tatis, Bogarts, and Machado, right? I mean, just ridiculously stacked, and then obviously this horrible year. Now this year, all of a sudden, right, a bunch of those people are either gone or underachieving. But fucking 31-year-old Jurickson Profar is all of a sudden living up to his top prospect in the game billing from
Also,
like what 10 years ago. And then Luis Arias is doing his 1970s slap hitter act, right?
and he's not that good though. If you look at
if you look at overall WAR, yeah, he's one dimensional. He hits singles, but compared to like what we were thinking last year with their roster and how disappointing they were, I feel like it would be poetic that Profar and Arias are kind of the two leaders of the team, and all of a sudden maybe they actually have postseason success. Like it would not surprise me at all. So that would be interesting.
I think it's honestly, I mean, their pitching has been decent, and I'd love to see Michael King continue to do well. I loved him, but it's really their outfield. And I wrote a little bit about that when I wrote that piece on Jackson Merrill. I mean, all 3 of those guys are going to the All-Star game.
Oh, yeah, Merrill too. Duh. How did I forget Merrill? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
And, Merrill's 21 and, or just turned 22, whatever. Great story. I don't just say that because I want Mama Merrill to be friends with me, but I mean, there's just it's a cool vibe, to like have that, and maybe that pressure's gone and everything. And I don't know that being Yankee fans, I don't know if that's something we can ever really replicate. Like, kind of the 2017 season was special, obviously, like the baby bombers and everything, but once that season was gone, that went away very quickly. Like oh my god, we love the young people and everything. It was like, win the fucking World Series, let's go, we're the fucking Yankees. Like, it was back, and everything. But it just seems like the pressure maybe is off, to your point, Ethan, a little with San Diego now, where they can just relax a little bit, and they're playing better as of late. I mean, they were on pace to, I think, break that record by the Blue Jays or whatever for tying how many times you get to 500.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah,
I think they're like 5 or 6 games above right now. So
3 above right now, 49 and 46. But like, I wouldn't be surprised if they, played well enough in the second half to sneak into the playoffs, and then who knows?
I mean, they're in the wild card right now, right?
Yeah.
Number 3.
Is that right?
Are you looking at the full standings?
I was looking at their team stats because I just noticed something.
I'll look at the
They
standings.
are, yeah, they're third in the wild card. Okay, so I was just looking at their so you guys, so there are 2 former Yankees who are bench players for them. One, I think you guys are going to be able to guess, or one of you will
I mean,
guess.
I'm staring at their roster, so I know.
Oh, you're
so.
looking because there's
Yeah.
one that's a good trivia question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Kyle, do
Bench
you
players?
on their team right now, former Yankees? Do you you're not looking at their roster, right? Do you want to guess, Kyle?
No. Oh man.
One I think you at least you were aware of that won't surprise you, but the other one might surprise you. It totally shocked me.
Well, Matty Carpenter no longer.
Nope.
I mean, we're not talking about like, Wandy or anyone, right?
Same trade. No, sorry. Same trade as King.
Same trade as King. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
right. Wandy was
I
a
forgot
free
about the fucking King trade. No
Yeah,
wonder.
Wandy was a free agent.
Yeah.
Same trade as King was.
Same trade as King was not Matty Carpenter. That's the only one that's coming to mind. You're gonna have to tell me.
So Kyle Higashioka
Higgy.
is that one didn't surprise me that much, but the other one that did surprise me, Tyler Wade.
Okay.
Remember him? Yeah, he's on the fucking Padres now.
Yeah, but you see, Higgy's OPS is better than both Yankees catchers right now.
I saw that. Yeah, I mean he's only played 39 games, but yeah, he does have an 814 OPS.
and in 39 games, he got 11 home runs in Petco in a pitcher's park.
That's true. That's pretty impressive. And he's 34. Where the fuck is this coming from?
It took him 14 years to figure it out.
Yeah. Oh man.
I saw Higgy had to be 18, I think, 18 or 19. Here in Charlotte, and I was him and Frazier. So Frazier was still on the team. Must have been 2018. Was still in AAA, and they were within 20 feet of me, 10 feet. I don't know. And Higgy was somebody was throwing him a bullpen, and Frazier was just kind of next to him, stretching and everything. And Higgy seemed pretty cool. Frazier seemed like what we know Frazier to be.
Yeah. That's still disappointing to me. Yeah.
Yeah, and everything. Actually, Matt and I were talking earlier before you came on, Ethan, about Glaber and how this might be the final 60 games that he plays in a Yankee uniform. And it's just crazy to think about, given all the hype that he had, coming over and the Tappy trade and everything. And you think like just what we were talking about earlier with those 2017 Yankees. I mean, all of the promise, and there was a whole book written about them. I mean, Brian Hoke wrote the Baby Bombers book about
that's right,
Torres and Frazier and Greg Bird and all these people that were supposed to be the next wave of Yankee champions. And I don't want to make this a whole Yankee thing, but one thing I was thinking of today, and Matt, I think this goes to, we were also talking, Ethan, about Booney and just the overall vibe and everything. I remember when it was like 2011, I think, there was a big inning in the playoffs. Nick Swisher was up, could have easily given the Yankees the lead, and I think he struck out. Didn't even come close, to hitting the ball. And I remember thinking how lucky they got in 2009 to win that World Series, because that core of players, the Nick Swishers, the Mark Teixeiras, those are the only two that are coming to mind right now.
if we include pitchers, right?
Matsui.
Matsui was before that. He wasn't part of the. I'm talking about the 2009 core, like the 2009
World Series MVP Hideki Matsui.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I know, but Matsui was on the team from 2003 to 2009. He wasn't supposed to be part of the future. I'm saying like this core that they had brought in and spent all that money on and everything. They are really good and get lucky and win the World Series in 2009. But in every single postseason after that, they choked so bad. They had every opportunity to win like multiple World Series if they could just like put bat on ball and everything. And yeah, I get it. Like you're playing the best. But like that was the difference between the actual dynasty that we got to see when we were kids versus that core that doesn't really get remembered in very good light. And I mean, you think about CeCe and who else? Like Brett Gardner, you don't really think that highly of him, even though he was around forever and everything. And I think we've kind of reached that point with this core of Yankees where it's like, this is just who they are. Like, they're very streaky. They're probably not good enough to win the World Series. And like, at some point, maybe we just have to accept that, or Brian Cashman, more appropriately, has to accept that and like really bust it up and try something different. Just because it just, you can't have this stretch. What, Matt? 3 years in a row, 5-15, and
yeah.
everything.
Ethan, did you see that?
No.
The Yankees, 3 years in a row, have had a 5-15 stretch sometime in the season.
Oh wow.
And I don't remember exactly, but sometime like it was like, oh, they hadn't had one since 1924 or something. Like there was some ridiculous like, or it only happened once in the last 80 years or something like that, and then we've had 3 in a row.
Oh wow.
But now you say if had they just put bat on ball, right? Like had they like, but yet in the same episode you've also said, well, Luis Ariz is just a one dimensional player, right? Like, okay, but how much would you kill to have him somewhere in the lineup right now? Say for a DJ or for a Glaber, right? Like
we thought DJ was that person.
Yeah,
right?
we did.
I didn't. I never did.
I did.
Yeah.
You weren't on here, Ethan, earlier when I was saying like, yeah, he 3 straight near MVP seasons. I was all in, and guess what? That blew up in our face. Now who knows if it's the foot injury, and who knows if it's just aging.
But
he just looks
toast.
I mean, he always looked, angular.
Yeah, he doesn't look graceful out there.
Yeah. And shout out to a high school friend of ours. But if you're listening to the podcast, call me and I'll send you some beer. For mentioning you, Dan Bresnahan, great baseball player, great catcher.
I love
Did not look graceful. Did not look graceful at all. But very good. Very, very good.
It's not where I thought this was going.
Yeah, so, but that's what I think of when I see DJ LeMahieu, right? Like you have all the talent in the world, but you don't look smooth. Like the opposite of the Trey Turner home plate slide is DJ LeMahieu.
Yeah.
Jerky.
I feel like Paulie kind of looked not so graceful either, but Paulie actually had the hitting consistency to,
Paulie's swing though was like beautiful.
Paulie's swing was beautiful, but if you actually like watched him like run around,
he looked like he had a board nailed to his back. Like,
like he didn't look very graceful running the bases or in right field, but I was always skeptical of DJ. I mean, 2019, he was amazing, and I'm glad for that. And of course, 2020 in the shortened season, he was too. But prior to that, his whole career with the Rockies. Prior to that, he had 1 year of an OPS plus above 100, I believe. I think I was looking at this again the other day. So, I mean, I always hoped that he would, like we talked about, that he was going to be like Paulie, that it was going to be like, hey, forget about power, just hit line drives for us, and that he could be this 300 hitter into his late 30s. But it has not worked out that way so far, has it?
Yeah, and I don't even know if I'd want Louis in the lineup. Like I think like the offense overall is just more of an indictment of what offenses look like in Major League Baseball in 2024. Like the league average is 242 and keeps going down.
God, that's like really bad.
It's not good. No matter what game you're watching, what team you're watching, and everything. So. Yeah,
which is why Stephen Kwan is amazing.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, there's the outliers, and everything, but like that, it's weird because like when Babe Ruth was an outlier, the things he did fundamentally changed the game, whereas like a Stephen Kwan, I mean, he's got probably a close to 1,000 OPS still if he's not dropping under by this point with his average dropping down and everything, but the average just doesn't do as much if nobody else is getting on base or doing anything. Like it. And so, okay, great, you're on base, but
his OPS is at 949, so still excellent.
Yeah, it's still excellent, but it was at like 1 something.
1.1 something. Yeah, right. 1.18 or something otherworldly.
Well, you can only keep it at 1,000 if you really have some power. And I mean, he's got 9 homers and 13 doubles, which is fine, but like. It's 1,000 OPS is hard to maintain if you're not hitting like a lot of doubles and homers. I'm sure that we will talk more about Glaber like as the season goes by and like certainly in the off season. But just really quickly, I want to say like one more piece. Obviously, we've talked about Glaber a lot. I do want to say one thing. Obviously, he hasn't quite lived up to maybe his top prospect billing, right? He was the centerpiece of that Chapman trade back in 2016. He was one of the top prospects in the game. I think people, including us, had like really, really high expectations for him, like perennial all-star expectations, like Robbie Cano, but maybe not quite as good. I don't know if anybody expected him to be quite as good as Robbie Cano, but like perennial all-star. He has not been that. However, I do want to say once again, other than 2021 when he played shortstop, and forget 2020 because of the shortened season. So other than his shortstop season, according to both Baseball Reference and Fangraphs WAR, he has been on average about a 3-win player for like 5-6 seasons. That is like a really solid player. That is nothing to sneeze at. I mean, I understand he gets like so much hate and he has been, somewhat of a disappointment, but like, if you're bringing somebody up through your system, whether you sign them, you do an international signing or you draft them or a trade like this and you have them as a really young prospect, whatever. We know in baseball that prospects becoming successful major leaguers, we know that it is by far the hardest and the rarest of all the major sports. You will take every single time if you can get somebody who's going to be a 3-win player on average for 5-6 years. You will take that every fucking time. So like my point being, he has been a good, solid major leaguer. Now the hate, I think, also has to do with the optics. I was reading there's one of these Yankees blogs like shows up on my feed a lot. I want to say it's like Pinstripe Alley or Yanks Go Yard or something. I don't know if you guys see those ones too.
Yeah.
But I was like, reading one of their posts the other day and I was like really hating on Glaber. And I get it because there's some of these optics where he just looks like he's just totally coasting. Like he looks so lazy out there. And, but he like fucks up. It's not like Robbie Cano lazy where it's, he's still making a beautiful play or hitting a beautiful double or whatever. And so I get that. Like you see these things and they loom large in your memory, even if the player is still overall a good player. So I kind of understand that. And I do think, like you guys have been saying, I kind of thought for a while, no, Glaber's like, he's a solid player. We're probably going to bring him back. I think you guys are probably right. I think this is going to be it. I bet you it's Oswald Peraza next year at second base would be my guess. But he has been a solid player, and I'm going to keep reminding everybody of that. But we'll see. I bet you he goes to like fucking Cleveland or something and becomes an all-star for like 3 years.
Not going to be Cleveland. They don't spend money.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I don't know how big of a contract you think Glaber's going to get. I don't know. I mean,
well, that's what Matt and I were saying. Like he could, do one of those one-year deals. I'm not saying he's going to be a Hall of Fame like Belcher.
I see him getting like a 3-year, $36 million type contract. Like,
yeah, I think he'll get more than that.
I don't even see him getting that this season. I mean, if you want to like bank on the Glaber of old and say this pressure got to him and this was just a bad season, maybe, but I'm like, I wouldn't give him that money.
You wouldn't give him 13 million, or whatever the fuck that is, or 12 million per year.
For 3 years.
Yeah,
locked into 3 years. No.
Yeah, because I mean, 12 million per year is like nothing in 2024 standards.
You'd be betting on his 20, 28, 29, and 30 seasons, right? Like,
wow. So he's just coming into his prime years.
Yeah. That's the other thing is he played his rookie year when he was like 21 or something. Like he's still pretty young. I mean, it doesn't. Yeah, I mean, God, he has been really horrible this year, though. To your point, Colin, it is this. I mean, fuck, you don't want to be having this year in your contract year. It'd be one thing if he did this a couple years ago, but yeah, that's really.
Think about how much money he would have made if he was a free agent last year.
Yeah,
whether from the Yankees or someone else.
Right.
I mean, he's making $14 million this year.
Yeah, I was going to say, I imagine him being like a $20 million a year guy, probably, even on a shorter, or maybe even more on a shorter deal. But God, I mean, last year he had an 800 OPS and 25 homers, right? I mean, as a second baseman, that's like really solid. And But yeah, I mean, if he doesn't pick it up in the second half and he stays right around where he's at now, that doesn't look good.
One of the Baseball Reference listed comps through age 26, Javi Baez. Ugh.
Oh wow, you don't want to age like that. That's for sure.
No. So anyway, guys, wait. Before we get too deep, we've missed a very important part of the podcast.
Oh right, we did.
What are you drinking, gentlemen?
So, all right, I'm being lame because I've been drinking the last couple of nights, and we might go out after this. So and we're also out of beer and wine in the house. So I actually don't have anything tonight. But what did I have recently? Did I have anything interesting? Because I have gone to some places, Matt, and I was going to talk about it. Okay, so I went to a local brewery yesterday called Gilded Goat in Fort Collins, and had a strawberry limeade sour, which was a little bit too limey for me, but that was pretty good. And where else did we go? I don't know if we went anywhere else super interesting in the last couple of days. So I'll have to report back. But that's it.
Colin?
Weld works in the house, yo.
Oh hell yeah!
Ooh, the double unicorn.
And I actually haven't even had that one before. Somehow they haven't had it when I've gone.
Yeah, so actually that was one. As I was in the beer store, the guy was like, "Hey, that's supposed to be a special one," and I was like, "Okay." Yeah, it was really fucking good. It was really, like, it was one of those, like, I had sent the rest of what I had to Colin and was like, I kind of wish I still had that. But
why did you send it all to me? You should have
because I wanted you to have good beer too.
You could have given me one.
Nah,
this is the double dry hopped version of it.
Yeah.
It's a unicorn thing or it's a unicorn race, because the race is a triple. Okay, thing is a double. Man, okay, I gotta get it. I haven't seen it in the store, and they haven't had it at the brewery when I've been.
Yeah,
recently
I think it's
either.
maybe a once a year type thing.
Well, shit. Okay, nice. Hell yeah, I'm jealous.
I gave it a 4.75.
Yum.
Well,
Matt, before you get into yours, I just want to really put a cap on the Glaber thing. When you said the Javi Baez, I looked up. I mean, his advanced stats, Glaber, do not bode well for the future. Like his exit velo, his barrel percentage, his hard hit percentage. He's chasing a ton more. His walk rate was like way up last year. Now it's way back down to like where it was in 2022. Like
it also doesn't make sense.
I'm really worried about
it. Doesn't make sense because he's BFFs with Soto. You would think that all of that shit would be going in the right direction.
Yeah,
but maybe they're partying too much. I don't know. I mean, they're fucking young and in New York City and rich. Like, can't blame them if they are. But Soto is still performing at least. Anyways, Matt, what do you got?
So I'm almost finished because you're taking so long. So I've got a backup here. But I started with from Side Project, Unblended number 41. So it's a special series of single barrel wild ales they did. So this one is I think it's a wheat and a Pilsner malted beer aged with wild cultures in a Chardonnay cask.
Mm.
It is, and it was aged for 3 years in the cask and then bottled in 2019. So I've sat on this for a while. This went down and back to North Carolina. I was hoping to open it with you and Dalvin, but didn't get a chance. So
oh dang,
Dalvin.
But yeah, this is I've had this I guess for 5 years now. So it was time to crack it open, and it's very tasty, very very easy to drink.
Nice.
Yum.
Good funk on there. And then for Brother Jeremy as my backup beer / next beer, the Yingling of Vermont Switchback Ale.
Oh yeah. Nice. Jeremy loves Switchback. I think that's still one of his favorites.
Ooh, it's such a good beer.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a good one. And it's just like, they're like, we brew this not to be any specific style. It's like kind of an amber, hard to describe beer, reddish amber ale. And yeah, their whole story for the uninitiated, they set out as this brewery, this kind of really stripped down brewery in Burlington. Their whole business model was, we are going to take over. We're going to have a tap in every bar in the state of Vermont. That is our business strategy. We want to be on tap wherever you go in the Green Mountain State, and they did. It is the preferred bar draft beer in the state of Vermont. It is everywhere. And like when I first visited there with my brother and my parents, like their brewery tour is basically like that's the cooler, and that's where we brew the beer, and that's where we age the beer. Now let's walk over to the cooler wall, and they had their switchback tap, and they had their like red ale tap, and that was it. We just have 2 beers, so you guys get a sample of one of the 2 beers. And that was it. But that's all they needed, right? It was stripped down. It was not like for the longest time you could only get it on draft or in growlers, and then they started selling like 22-ounce bottles of Switchback. Is like, and you could maybe, if you were lucky, like I could have my brother get it for me in Albany, or it was when I was like, oh Dave, like the Beer Bros have Switchback on draft. Can you get me a growler and bring it home for Christmas? Like one of those type things. And again, there's nothing outrageous about it. It's just ale.
Yeah, it's just like tasty and easy drinking,
yeah,
right?
It's like I would describe what Boston Lager used to be, right? It was a Vienna Lager, but like just tasty and like, oh, I don't know what else to drink. Okay, like, well, this is gonna be tasty. I know I'm gonna enjoy this.
Yeah. I feel like when we talk about a beer like this and it's called an ale, it makes me think like, you know, either picture like sailors in the 1700s or like people in a fantasy universe. Like picture Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones, and you show up to the local tavern and you have a stein of ale or whatever.
Oh,
it's
shit.
like something like that.
Dresden at the
or like at Max at McAnally's and the Dresden.
Max. I should have had my stein out, right? It's just a stein of ale at McAnally's.
Yeah, exactly. Something exactly like that too. Yeah, and I love that. There's like a fun vibe. Now, Matt, really quick question. I can't remember the last time you had Fat Tire. Was Fat Tire, do you think, kind of in that vein as well? Or is it still kind of envisioned? Because I think of Fat Tire that way.
It was. Now, I have not had it since they
like changed it or whatever.
The recipe. And same goes, the Boston Lager has changed now too. So I have not had them now. Boston Lager, I think, was just tweaked. I think Fat Tire is a whole new recipe now.
Okay.
So,
okay, interesting.
But yeah, Fat Tire was another one. Yeah. It was just
ale,
kind of an
right?
ale.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was nice and easy to drink.
Yeah, right.
So,
yeah.
I'm trying to think of something else I would put in that category, but yeah.
Right.
You know,
I like
nothing special, but always satisfying.
Definitely. Yeah. Hey, while we're talking about beer, I'm going to Wyoming for a few days, Friday to Wednesday, and we're going to be we have a friend visiting us right now, who, Matt, you met Paul, our old roommate, back in Maryland.
Kyle,
yeah, Kyle. I don't think you met.
You have any of those Hill Farmstead beers left to drink with him?
No. Unfortunately, we drank them all. Me and Yulia did. But I might go and see if that bar, the one bar in Fort Collins that carries Casey, I might go grab a Casey bottle for us to share, or maybe multiple. But so we're going to go up to Wyoming and we're going to check out like Yellowstone and Grand Teton and stuff. Now, off the top of your head, not necessarily close to Yellowstone or Grand Teton, but if somebody asks you, "Hey, Matt, tell me about some Wyoming breweries," do you have any like in your mind? It seems like it's not a hotbed for breweries, but I don't know.
There's the only thing, the closest I can think of is, I think it's either Montana Brewing or, okay, I got you one. But first off, to finish my first thought, either Big Sky Brewing or Montana Brewing. I think it was Big Sky makes Moose Drool.
Okay.
But let me double check because I believe Melvin Brewing is based out of. It is. I was right.
Okay. Of course you were.
The beer brain strikes again. So Melvin Brewing hit the scene for some really, really tasty IPAs back in the day. So
okay.
I think their flagship is called 2x4. But they had a whole bunch. Like they were the ones, they always had like a really, really cool setup at GABF. They'd have like a camper trailer off in the corner and they'd have like really weird beers.
Okay.
But yeah.
Fun.
They are the Wyoming brewery that I know of. So let me see what they brew now still. But 2x4 is the one I can remember. 2x4 double IPA.
And you know what? They're near. Sorry.
Oh, they have a Jesus Mexican lager.
Oh, fun. Funny. Okay. Yeah, they're near Grand Teton. I actually might be able to go. But sorry, continue. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say definitely check them out. They were known. They were definitely known for their IPAs back in the day. Now I believe 2x4 wasn't a hazy. I believe it was more West Coast style
Okay.
double IPA, but it was still very tasty.
Yeah, nice. Very impressive beer brain as always.
There's only so many. Like, it takes a little while. It takes a lot of drinking and a little memory. And like you ask Idaho, I could maybe give you one in Idaho, but
yeah.
that was 10 barrel, and I think Budweiser bought them out.
Okay.
You asked me about the Dakotas. I can't really give you any Dakotas. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Funny. Yeah.
Yeah. Enjoy Wyoming, dude. That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. I've actually been to both of those parks, but Paul and Yulia have not. So it'll be first time for them checking it out. And obviously there's lots of really beautiful and cool stuff at those parks. So it should be a good hang, and it's also good timing because I don't know what we didn't talk about the weather yet, how it is for you guys out east, but it's about to be 100 degrees here for a couple days. And Wyoming is on Friday through Sunday. It's supposed to be over 100 here in Fort Collins, but up in Wyoming, it's going to be much cooler. Up in Yellowstone, at least. So
yeah, we've had heat indices above 110 for 3 straight days. So
oh my fucking
God.
God.
Philly is in a heat wave. This is like day 7 of the heat wave right now.
Brutal.
Are you getting any of the hurricanes coming up, Matt?
We're going to see some storms maybe around 10 or 11 o'clock tonight. But speaking of that, actually, where my parents are, had a tornado warning. They had a bunch of trees down. They were just hanging.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, they said they were already in the basement, just hanging out down there because it was cooler. But yeah, they still have the tornado warning going. But come on, focus. Anyway,
we can kind of get the gist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
There's a couple trees down on the fence my dad built out of reclaimed wood that he was very proud of. So I guess the bright side is he's got more time now to, or more projects to rebuild now.
Yeah.
Where's Grand Teton, Ethan?
Jackson, Wyoming is what you want to look for. It's a little bit further south of like Yellowstone. It's closer to us. Yeah, I think it's like like southwest kind of Wyoming in general. Maybe not that far south overall, but western.
All right.
Yeah. So Grand Teton is kind of like, if you haven't looked at pictures before, your big your big gray mountains and like alpine lakes and stuff, that kind of thing. It's very beautiful. Oh yeah, there's just a central west basically.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah. It's in the park. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a drive, dude.
Well, I mean, for like Grand Teton is 6.5 hours from us, from where I live. That's not too bad. Yeah. Yellowstone is further, but we're going to break it up. Yellowstone is like 9 hours or something. But even I guess,
Fort Collins is almost to the border, so
really close to the border. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, it's pretty crazy. I mean, obviously Rocky Mountain National Park is in our backyard. That's like 45 minutes away. But then, I mean, Grand Teton and Yellowstone are both in a relatively easy day's drive if you're used to long drives. I mean, under 9 hours. That's pretty cool.
Well, make sure to keep some Melvin beer with you at all times. Just if you get attacked by a grizzly, just shake it up and use it as improvised bear mace.
Exactly right. Yeah, I like that.
No.
Yeah.
No, please don't meet any bears. Please, please do not.
No. I don't plan on it.
General Tenzer would not be happy.
No, she wouldn't.
General.
So
yeah, shit.
What else we got? Did you guys have anything to
we gotta have more
on the docket specifically?
Our fans demand more.
That's true. What else? Sports stuff, baseball stuff. I don't want to talk about politics.
You guys ready for the Olympics?
Actually, I mean, well, so I was looking forward to seeing some tennis because I've been getting into tennis. But then I was told that they don't care so much. The tennis players themselves don't care about the Olympics as much as like their actual Grand Slam tournament. So I don't know if it's going to be that great. But I
think there's not the kind of like soccer, right? There's not as big an emphasis. Basically, right? I was told way back in the day that Olympic soccer is basically kind of like a junior team, like the young folks, you know. But maybe it still could be exciting, national pride and patriotism and all that stuff you love, Ethan.
I love it. I love it so much. Yeah.
I don't know. The biggest things, which are a shame, that the most news I've been hearing about the Olympics is the Olympic Village and the River Seine. So I don't know if you've been following. So a couple things. Paris wanted to have the greenest Olympics ever.
Okay.
So they said, no, we're not going to put air conditioners in any of our Olympic Village buildings. We're going to have all these other architectural natural ways to cool it, which is smart, right? There are a number of old architectural designs that people have kind of abandoned because we don't need those ways to keep buildings cool if you have AC. So, they were trying to, but in defiance of that, a lot of countries are just like, well, fuck you, we're bringing air conditioners anyway that we're just going to plug in because we want our athletes to sleep well and be cool and like be at the peak of their performance. So that's becoming a debacle. I don't know where that's happening. I know someone also mentioned the other day that they were trying to have like orgy-proof beds and like they were like the bed frames are like made out of cardboard and something like that, but it was supposed to be sustainable and eco. And yes, cardboard can be very, very strong, but and I just thought that was funny. Like the post basically said, like, you've got the best athletes in the world. They're still going to find a way to fuck on these things. Like, don't worry. Like, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
The other thing is they are planning on having swimming events in the River Seine, which as a old European city with infrastructure that's older than this country, it's just a shit pile. Like it's literally full of shit. It's full of shit and garbage.
Oh,
and
God.
Anytime there's kind of like Onondaga Lake, anytime there were heavy rainwaters, the sewer system overflows, and guess where it overflows into? The Seine. So
yikes.
They were talking about all these cleanup efforts they've had. They've been adding these massive underground storage tanks that are supposed to help divert rainwater so that does not overwhelm the sewage system and prevent all this the sewage from running into the Seine. But bacteria levels are still high. And there's a lot of people in France right now that are upset about kind of all the spending the country's doing on the Olympics and not focusing on problems at home. So the mayor has gotten a lot of flack, and I don't know if Macron promised as well, but I know the mayor of Paris promised that the river would be ready and she would swim in the river. And she made the mistake, and John Oliver, I will give him credit for highlighting this. She made the mistake of announcing the day that she would swim in the river, and credit those very, very, very creative Parisians and their protests. But there is a website where it's like, sign up to shit in the river on the day that the mayor is going to swim in it. And so like thousands, tens of thousands of people were like, I'm going to shit in the river this day. And so even like a website sprung up where it's like, oh, you're 17 miles upriver. Well, you need to shit in the river at this time so that it flows down the river.
Oh my God.
And so for scheduling reasons, she had to change her swim in the river date. But again, as John Oliver highlighted, she announced a second date. Like, he was like, why do you keep announcing a date? Like, stop doing that. You are just enabling people to shit in the river. Like, they've just updated the website. People are still going to do it.
Hilarious.
So I don't know if that's actually going to happen or not. I would really hate to see them cancel events.
Yeah.
Because the river's not clean enough, but it's a public health problem still. Now the flip side is, right, regardless of the Olympics coming or not, it's a good idea to try and clean that up.
Yeah.
But it is, right, you're battling 500 years of infrastructure there, right? Like, it unfortunately, that's kind of a product of city growth over hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. So, right, the city still has catacombs underneath it, right? Like, it still has all these old, like, we have the luxury of being a new country in America. And we can just dig shit up, or if you're Chicago, just build a new city on top of the old city. Not really the case in ancient France.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Interesting to see if
wild.
that happens. I have to look for a double check and see if they actually did have the shit in the river.
What was the rationale for doing stuff, having events in the river in the first place? Is this about the whole green initiative?
I think it was supposed to showcase the city, and it was
Uh,
supposed to, be
okay,
part of the green initiative, and
I
also,
see. Okay,
like, hey, we don't have to build new facilities if we do. Like, obviously, there's an indoor pool, but
yeah.
this was going to be for like certain outdoor swimming events and triathlons and that kind of stuff.
Okay, interesting.
And Paris can't pull a China and just be like, hey, industry, by the order of the government, you can't be industry anymore for 6 months, right? Like, they can't do that. So, yeah,
Yeah.
my little 2 cents about the Olympics.
Okay, I like it. What else? Didn't the American soccer team have like a really embarrassing loss in this tournament that's happening?
Oh, they kind of collapsed.
Uh-huh. I know that the coach got fired. I saw that.
Yeah, they just sacked Greg today. So I'm going to nominate the 2-time section coach of the year, Cousin Greg, to be the
There we
next
go.
USMNT coach.
Hell yeah, I like this.
Can't be any worse than Greg with 2 G's Bernhalter, or whatever his name is.
I love it.
Right, he's got two G's. Am I getting that right? You guys know that? Come on, back me up here. Come on. Bernhalter, Greg with 2 G's. Yes, Greg with 2 G's. That was right.
I trust you, Matt.
The amount of just useless stuff that goes in these eyes and out this mouth, just. But yeah, it's a shame with the amount of resource that we have and how much of focus the game has become in the country that it's still we still suck. And I think part of the panic is like the World Cup's coming here soon.
Mm-hmm.
We want to make a good showing, please.
Yeah.
They're also expanding the tournament. I think it's going to be like 48 teams next time around.
Okay.
So yeah, we want don't fuck up, US. Come on.
It makes me think of the bit in Ted Lasso where Matt, did you end up watching Ted Lasso or no?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I couldn't remember.
Thank you, Colin and Christine, for your Apple Plus.
Right. Where Roy, when he gets too old and slow and they bench him on Richmond, but then he goes on that rant where he talks about maybe I'll go to America and show them what a real footballer looks like. Like even old and slow Roy Kent would still dominate in America. That's what I not that I know anything about soccer, but I think
that's
of
what
that.
Messi's doing, right? Lionel Messi's he's probably giving a half effort and still he scored 2 goals and had an assist tonight. He didn't even show up half the time because of other commitments.
Yeah.
So wild.
Yeah.
Inter Miami, the pink Messis.
He got an insane contract, didn't he, from them?
I mean, they must have to get him over here. But again, think about it. You're gonna essentially go back to play. You're gonna go back to be a pro player playing JV players, and we're gonna give you a bunch of money, and you're gonna be in America, and everyone's gonna be adoring you, and you can still shoot your Stella Artois commercials, and
Right.
He's super rich.
Messi.
He's 37
Miami
already. Wow. Okay.
contract.
I'm
Let's
reading
see.
Columbia, who's playing right now in Charlotte in the semifinal, and one of Stella's best friends, Nova, who we just played. We had a play date today. We went to the pool and then had popsicles and whatnot afterward. And they're actually from Columbia. They're having a big party right now. They invited me, but I already had this commitment, so I love you guys enough to.
Oh, come on. We're not that important.
Could have walked right down the street for a crazy
Colombian soccer party. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, come on.
The woman I was talking to, it's her grandma, and she's like, it's gonna be crazy tonight. It's gonna be so fun. I was like, I don't doubt that at all. It would be super fun. If they make it to the finals, I'm definitely gonna come to the house because they lit right down the street from us. So.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they're up 1-0 right now. 40.
Who are they playing?
Yeah.
Uruguay.
Yep, Uruguay.
Ooh, okay. Colin, we're not that important. Listeners would understand.
Yeah. Toddy was also doing a breath work thing with somebody she used to work with for business owners. So I was like, I know she already had made that commitment, and somebody's got to watch the girls. So we gotta.
I mean, what? Just they can look after themselves. Just just pull season 2 of The Bear and spike the fruit punch with some Xanax. And yeah, parenting advice from someone who shouldn't give parenting advice right there.
Well, I've been thinking about this a lot lately because Stella's birthday is at the end of the month. How old do you guys feel knowing that she's going to be turning 4?
Ugh.
Oh no, I mean I know she's COVID baby, right? It'll be easy to remember her birthday moving forward.
Yeah,
Makes me feel old. Fucking crazy.
It's just, it's so true. Like that saying, the days are long, the years are short when it comes to kids. Like when you're in the thick of it, sometimes in the day to day, you're just like, please God, anything you can do to just give me a break. But the fact that she's gonna be 4 is just unbelievable. Like how fast it's gone. And
yeah, I mean, right? You've got like a real time barometer to see how that goes. Like, you know, it's even crazier when you just see her in snippets every year or two. Like,
yeah.
Oh, I will say I did think it was funny. Like, I definitely could see at points over Memorial Day when you were kind of at your limit, when you're just like, can you just please talk normal? Like, like when she had the baby, like, what's with the baby talk? Please just talk normal.
Yeah.
Colin was at his limit.
Oh man.
Yeah. I've definitely noticed. It's been like I don't know exactly when it flipped, but the commission me definitely started to come out more, especially with her. Just knowing that, you know, she's older and she can understand more, and her behavior should be a polite, well behaved. Like I don't need her to be perfect. I don't need any of that, but I don't need her to be a little a-hole either to myself, to Toddy, to anybody, you know, and whatever. Like there's just no need for it. And I've definitely noticed the commission come out more and more in me, which I think for the most part has been helpful. I know it's something I'm going to have to like audit and keep in check and whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm just, I am proud of her though. I have a really cool, I can tell you guys off air, a really cool birthday surprise for her and everything.
Oh, did she listen?
What's that?
He said, "Oh, did she listen?"
Well, just in case.
No, I know.
I don't want anyone to know outside Christine.
I just sees the opportunity to be a bit of an asshole and say something funny.
She would listen. I mean, she gets mad, like mad and sad. Like tomorrow, she'll be like, "Did you podcast with Matt and Ethan?" And she'll be
Wait,
like,
really?
I wanted to stay up for that and say hi to them. Like, I'm
Oh
like,
my
dude,
God.
all you had to do was take a nap today, and I would have let you stay up like a little bit later to say hi. She never wants to nap anymore. And we're going to the pool with friends tomorrow, so we're gonna be out late. And I was like, you're definitely not staying up late tonight. But yeah, she's fucking
That's really
ham
cute.
when it comes to stuff like that and whatever. But yeah, definitely still crazy though to think 4 already and going to school in September. Day after
No shit.
Day after Labor Day.
Wait, preschool or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. She'll be kindergarten next year though.
I don't know how preschool works. I went to preschool for like 2 days, and they're like, no. Get out of here.
This preschool is it did work out for you. This preschool is like basically half day, like 9 to 12.
Yeah. Like kindergarten was when we were kids.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't. We haven't gotten quite that far yet. I don't know if it's full day down here or half day, or if it just depends on what school or whatever. But I mean, Toddy and I talk about this a lot. Any of the parents listening to this podcast, you want to weigh in on it? But there is like a pretty good portion of both of us that is like, we don't even necessarily want her to like go to an elite academic school at this point and everything. We're like, I mean, that rat race, and you two got into it deeper than I did, because I just stopped giving a fuck after a little while once I knew I just needed passing grades to get to where I wanted to go. But like that pressure kids in school these days, because academics and scholarships and all that type of stuff is so rampant and so destructive. I'm like, the longer we can keep the kids out of that and just know that they have the foundational pieces to like be smart kids and get a good education, like, and be able to ramp it up when maybe they need to and everything like that. That's something we've been weighing a lot, where we're like, maybe we do just want them to go to a school where they're going to like fuck around and play outside and la-di-da and whatever. Cause like they'll have, I mean, eventually it's going to turn where they got to get serious, right? Like in 5th, 6th grade or whatever it is. So I'm like, they're going to have 10 years regardless of, really hard school where they gotta, put it together. So just let them be fucking kids, and
I mean,
whatever. It's
that,
hard.
I mean, I feel like regular old Liverpool public schools did a damn good job. So,
you
like,
know,
Yeah, but
I
there's just
mean,
not a lot of. There's not a lot of those. I mean, definitely not a lot of those down here, where our taxes are not paying for very good public school system. But in general, I mean, you guys know, just not again, Ethan, to get really deep into the politics, but the way that schools are set up these days and the things that they are teaching, and just look at Louisiana, how what they're doing now, and whatnot, like. And that's the other part. Like Toddy's always like, well, we should, like when they get into high school, they should be in this, really good school for academics and everything. And I'm like, I don't even know if there's necessarily good schools for education. Like how do you define education these days? Like what are they supposed to be learning? Like what are they supposed to be doing? What to me, it just gets so blurry, and I don't know. I think it's for me personally, it's probably going to be one of those things where I'm just going to have to figure it out as we go, like literally year to year, and just kind of evaluate like how they're doing, how they're fitting in, and what's going on. But I don't have this like grand plan for them to spend K through 12 like in this one school district and then go to this elite, college and whatever. Because I'm like, I mean, the world could end in 3 months or 4 months, whenever.
I mean, I'd say find a friend who's a teacher. Talk to them. That might be your best insights, because even like talking to Lewis about how much Liverpool's changed, and for good and for bad, right, is insightful. So
yeah, well, and that's at the end of the day, I would just hope that she would, and I'm sure there's few far in between now because of the way that teachers get treated and the money that they get paid and everything. Like somebody like a Lewis, who I know is going to deeply care about the work that she does, maybe not deeply care about every single individual, but like put her best foot forward every single day, and like that environment is going to foster something good, whether or not it is, it's going to foster the elites of the world, and these high achievers and everything like that. I guess that is another discussion, but like that's more what I want, just to know that on a day-to-day basis, like she's going to be with somebody, and Arya when she gets to that point, like somebody who is a good influence, really cares, is just a kind, compassionate, like good person. That's really all I care about, at the end of the day. I of course want them to get their education, but I am definitely a little more, I think, worried about how they're going to achieve that without getting into the rat race of what starts as school and ends up as the corporate world for most of us.
well, I was going to say that if I have a kid, they have 3 options: Harvard, Juilliard, or disownment. And but Colin was being like so earnest and reasonable this whole time. Now my joke feels out of place. And the training for those starts right when they're in the womb, right? Like I'm gonna be playing Stravinsky when they're in the womb and everything, training them right from the get go, and then as soon as they pop out, you know what I mean? But
So let me ask you.
Yeah.
I mean, Matt, obviously, maybe not obviously for people who don't know, and I don't mean to embarrass you, but you finished number one in our high school class,
I
and
mean, he's the valid dick. Everybody knows.
yeah, what did you finish top 30, Ethan?
I was 35.
Yeah, top 35 in a class of what did it end up being 800, something graduates.
People actually graduated was like 635. I
Okay,
think we started
so
with like 700, but 635, I think, somewhere around there. Does that sound right, Matt?
I thought we started with like 850 and we're somewhere on 600 when we.
Okay.
yeah, I know we
It
lost.
was a surprising number that
Yeah,
moved or repeated or
yeah. Anyway, so Ethan, you very kindly, in a very rare act of kindness, sent me Stephen King's memoir, and I'm pretty early into it. I'm about like 30 something pages into it, and so he's talking about his childhood right now, because the whole book isn't just on like how to write better. It's like an actual memoir, and everything. And I would love to know your guys, like maybe to cap this off because I know we're at an hour, but I'd love to know your guys' opinion on what you were just saying, Ethan, where it's like you gotta like put the fucking foot on the gas pedal right away if you want to get to where you want to get. Or like I'm reading Stephen King's thing, and he grew up in a whole different time, obviously in the 50s, and whatnot. I mean, this dude, they had no money, very little education. He was sick all the time. He missed like a full year of school.
Oh, I
you
didn't
know,
know that.
and at least a full year. He had to be held back one time, like in first grade, second grade, somewhere around that. Um, his whole career came because he was able to like live a slower life and to like have an imaginative mind, and like his mom didn't like push him to be a writer, but he like talks about how there was this one really specific instance where he very similar to something I did, copied like a Sports Illustrated edition. He copied some kind of comic book, and his mom read it and was laughing. And then at the end, she was like, "Did you write this?" And he was like, "No, I didn't. I copied it." And she's like, "I think you could write better." And so he
That's
did, and he
cool.
ended up earning. He wrote like a four-piece series. I think he was like, I don't know, 10, 11, 12 years old. He got $1. He got a quarter for every series that he did. That was his first buck he said he earned in the industry. And and whatever. And I mean, obviously Stephen King has gone on to just create some of the best works of art that any generation has created. And I'm like, how do you balance that way of upbringing where it's like you're in a slower pace, that it's much harder to do these days because the world is different, technology connects us more, things are just faster paced in general. But how do you also not just go straight for like you got to go 100 miles an hour all the time, and whatever? Like, do you guys have any thoughts, any opinions on that?
I'd say I never felt the urge to be at 100 miles an hour all the time. I
Really?
never felt that. Like I never felt the pressure, the outside pressure. It was always me. Like
Okay.
for the longest time, it started off as I don't want anyone to beat me. Like that was like you know late elementary school, early middle school. Like I don't want anyone to beat me. I'm the best. I want to be the best. Like and it turned into in high school a goal after kind of my sophomore year of like, oh wow, like no one is beating me. Like that's when like we established a goal of, hey, I think I can do this. Right, but my dad also made a very big point. For those I'm not familiar, the story of Todd Marinovich, right? Like, uh, basically in the late '80s, bred to be a NFL quarterback. Never had a piece of candy or a soda in his life. Was practicing all the time. Like, burned out, right? Burned out. Had no
Of
choice in his
course.
life of what he wanted to do. Burned out by the time he got to college. Got into drugs. Flamed out. I think played one season in the NFL, and it just was very bad.
Yeah.
And so my dad said, like, I never wanted that, right? Like, I only wanted you to do things that you wanted to do. So that's kind of what drove. Like it was very, very self-driven, right? And I'll still be. I was not by far not the smartest in our class. By far not the most talented in the class. I think I just, for that time in my life, didn't want to let anyone beat me. I just said I was going to outwork everyone all the time. And that's where, I mean, I was able to translate that success to sports and like, right. Like, obviously, like Ethan, I was probably one of the worst people in band, right? But I at least wanted to work hard enough to get there. Same with being on the modified football team, right? In seventh grade, I didn't start, and I was ticked about it. Like I was so upset that like I thought I should, right? And I didn't. I was on the B team. I played quarters 2 and 4 of our 5-quarter weird games for a modified. So I worked at it, right? Like, and that's why I started weightlifting. That's why I was going to work harder than anyone in practice. And, by 8th grade, I was starting. They would let me play with the 18 for 2 quarters, and I always got subbed out for the big kid in the 5th quarter. But then, he screwed up, and I got played back again anyway. But I kept lifting. I kept getting faster. I kept getting stronger. I played JV in my 9th grade year. I played varsity my 10th grade year, right? Like,
you ended up being one of the captains for varsity, didn't you?
Yeah. And the same 9th grade baseball for Coach Jones, I got 1 hit that year, like that. But I didn't make the modified team in middle school, and I was ticked off about it. I was really, really ticked off about that.
Yeah.
I made the team next year, still was piss poor. Made the team the following year as taxi squad, right? Meaning, like, they said, hey, you'll be on the team, but we're not going to guarantee you any playing time.
Yeah.
And did great, right? Had a blast. Got to meet Coach Jacob. Got to get to know Colin and his dad in the summer, like, a lot better. And just, determined that I was going to keep working. So I don't know. I think a lot of it was
regrets for like all that work that you had to put in.
I enjoyed it then.
Yeah.
Now that radically changed when I got to college. Because when I got to college, I very quickly realized I am no longer big fish. I am a medium to small fish. There are people here that I will never, ever, 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 no matter how hard I work, be better than. Like, I'm just like, perfect example. One of the guys on my freshman year floor that like figured out with a 9-volt battery and a couple pieces of wire and a paper clip how to bypass this card swipe locks. Like, yeah, you can just, yep, okay, you're in. Like, here you go. Like, those kind of things. Or the guy my freshman year that I walk out in the common room was like, oh yeah, I'm monitoring everyone's Wi-Fi activity. Here's how you do it. like, yeah, okay, cool. Like, I'm never going to be that. And that kind of was a shift in my mindset where it's like, all right, well, now I'm going to go after the experiences I want. And kind of forge my own path. Hi, Toddy.
What's
hey,
up?
Toddy.
You guys still recording?
Lumos
infrared sauna. My friend Rachel. Meet Rachel. She owns all these.
No free.
Is it a
I
Harry?
thought that was a Harry Potter thing.
Is it a Harry Potter reference?
It is a Harry Potter reference. She obviously it's like light, and they have red light therapy and saunas.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. Are you guys?
I like your glasses.
Did make it?
Yeah.
Oh, these are my blue light blockers.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
Okay. Well, they look cool too.
Thank you. I don't have real glasses, but
yeah,
these are protecting me from that blue light at night.
Yeah, that's good. That's smart. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. It's from a sunglasses company, so the frames are legit. What's up? What am I interrupting? Some baseball talk?
No. Parenting talk.
How are you guys contributing?
I mean, I haven't yet.
Yeah, I don't know if you really want to listen to what I'm saying, but I was just ugh.
No. I mean, you were sharing your own experiences. I think that's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
We'll take it. I can't wait to listen and hear what's coming from a parenting talk.
Ethan said that your goal should be Harvard, Juilliard, or disown the kids.
If I have a kid, those are the 3 options. Yeah.
It's funny because up until like a few months ago, I was pretty bullish on like particular schools around here that were very academic.
Yeah.
And then I
Like
was
Duke, UNC, or whatever. Oh, or you mean like
um,
before college? Yeah.
yeah, like, kindergarten.
Yeah. That's what you're talking more. Okay, I see.
And I was like, what if I don't? Like, why do they need to get into the rat race? Well, why is that the point of their life? Like,
Right. That's what we're talking about. Yeah.
oh yeah,
That's
so
what
I'll
Colin. That's what Colin was asking. Yeah.
in my head a little bit. If they show a lot of academic desire, obviously I'd want them in an environment like that. And like low key, I think Stella kind of does, but I guess we'll see how this year goes. Um, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, okay, good academic opportunities, good sports opportunities, all that stuff sounds really good. But then there's also like a hippie school kind of down the road where like you spend a lot of time outside and like
Right.
learn your emotions and whatever. And I'm like,
Yeah, like Montessori style kind of thing.
could be, maybe that's better. I don't know.
Yeah.
I got about a
Yeah.
year to figure that out though.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
Stay tuned. All right, I'll let
And
you know.
if the first one doesn't work out, you've got a second one.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true. And that one's basically raising herself anyway because
Yeah.
the first one is so loud and needs so much that the second one just hangs out. And
It's basically like they're mini yous, right? So
Yeah.
Stella is mini Toddy and Arya is mini Kal is what this is.
some people have said that. When I was a very shy child until like the second grade. I didn't
Oh,
talk.
were you? Okay, all right.
I would cry if people talked to me. Okay.
Oh, funny. Okay, all right.
So I don't know where she came from.
Yeah. Oh man, amazing.
Oh, all right. Enjoy. Love you lots. Bye.
See ya.
Well, I will say though, the one advantage that I had that you three didn't have is I was not the oldest,
Oh.
and I still think Dave deserves a lot of. I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. Like
Good point. Yeah.
I knew that Peniston was a crazy science fair guy. Like I knew it. Like I knew half the time I'd get to a grade and be like, "Oh, are you David's brother? Oh, he was such a nice boy." Like, like half of my teachers in high school knew who Dave was, and yeah, he wasn't like the most stellar academically, in terms of performance. He's still really freaking smart. I still think he's smarter than me, but like I had the cheat codes, right? They knew who I was. They knew I had a good reputation. I knew what to expect. I knew kind of up until 11th and 12th grade, kind of had an idea of everything I should go after and expect. So,
Yeah.
That's the other
Great
thing.
point.
So,
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. Nice. Should we wrap it up here?
You don't want to give any more advice?
yeah. So I was interested in your thoughts.
Oh, I
but
don't.
you're also itching to get out to the exploring tonight, right? So,
Well, we were going to go and do something, and while the before the sun sets. But I mean, I also don't feel I don't feel that qualified. Like, I don't. My main thing is like, I want to know what the current science says, like psychology, neuroscience, anything. Because like Toddy was talking about, like the really strict schools versus like the hippy dippy, like. I would be, because we're still learning a lot about how humans learn. Like it is still a very much developing and growing field, not just young humans, but humans of any age. So for me, I'm like very curious about, what the sort of consensuses are at the moment with all that. But, talk like Matt was talking a lot about his own experience. For me, when I think about that, I internalized General Tensor so much that I was way harder on myself than either of my parents ever were. Like they never had to tell me to do anything. And I was still, practicing trumpet a lot and excelling and getting straight A's and doing all honors and AP. Similar to Matt, I wasn't so much about I'm not going to get beat, except for trumpet. I was that way with trumpet. Like nobody's going to beat me. But I was, there was like this sense of my parents didn't have to push me in that way. Although I think my mom maybe subconsciously did some of that. But the problem is that I ended up being really, really hard on myself and have kind of continued that throughout my life. Right. And so like for me, if I were to have a kid, my bigger concern would be like, okay, I need to not do that to my kid. Like I joke about like Harvard, Juilliard, and disownment. And don't get me wrong, I would love it if my kid was like a really high achiever. But I know for me, I would try really hard to like not ingrain unhealthy sort of mental expectations or whatever from me. I wouldn't want the kid to get that from me, because I know how I am. I am so similar to my mom in a lot of these ways, right? And so the thing that I would be scared about would be having my kid internalize the same shit and struggle, say, with like self-loathing and self-criticism to the degree that I have for the last 20 years, because it's not fucking healthy, right? So that's kind of what I'm thinking about, which isn't as relevant maybe to like 3, 4, 5 year olds, but I mean, it kind of starts there to a certain extent,
Yep.
right? So that's kind of where my mind went.
My therapist would be kinder to yourself. That's like her big phrase.
Yeah. Well, see, I just always think of the meme, and maybe I already made this joke when we talked about this on the pod, but there's a meme of, I think it's like a person looking in the mirror, and there's like a thought bubble or something, and it says like, be kinder to yourself, you dumb fucking piece of shit. It's like something like, it's like something like that, right? And I'm like,
Right.
yeah, there we go. Like that's what I identify with. Yeah. Because like the be kinder to yourself thing, like, yeah, of course, intellectually, it's one thing to understand that, but to actually be able to put it into practice with sincerity and consistency is
Hard.
not
difficult.
easy. Yeah. So
Yep. Well, maybe we talk more about next time, but like you guys said, we've been talking for an hour and 16 minutes. And
yeah,
if you listened to us this long, God bless you.
that's right.
Every one of us, or whatever they say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. God bless us,
The,
everyone, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like Christmas Carol, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Any shout outs before we go?
Oh, yeah, here I have a shout out. So, as a new homeowner, I recently got a subscription to Consumer Reports, which is like, really nice publication for trying to figure out what you want to buy of like certain items. And they had this thingy where they were recommending things that are like, useful items that are on sales or whatever, right? And there's this one thing they recommended that's called the Chom Chom Pet Hair Remover. And I'm gonna give a shout out to the Chom Chom. I ordered one and it just came in today. And we have this blanket on our couch downstairs that is like covered in thick clumps of cat hair because the cats love to sit up there. And I tried out the Chom Chom on it today. Chef's kiss. Worked like a fucking charm. Now I haven't tried it everywhere else in the house, but so far the Chom Chom is living up to it. So shout out to Chom Chom and to Consumer Reports for the recommendation.
Nice. Anything, Matt?
Shout out to my wonderful partner Sam for figuring out last night. I was ready to buy a new washing machine, and I did all the stuff. It's like I unplugged it. I tried all the stuff to fix it. Hit the reset button on the ground fault. Then it was like, fuck it, buy a new washing machine. It's broke. Then she like walked over in about 5 minutes. She plugged in something else. Like, no, the outlet's dead. Like, go check the breaker. And of course it worked. So shout out to her.
Nice work, Sam.
Because I had mentally prepared to buy a new washing machine.
I would have done the same. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And like while I was mad at the thought of buying a new washing machine, I don't want to imagine how incensed I would have been if the delivery guys had shown up with a new washing machine and plugged it in and the same freaking thing happened. I think you would have seen me go nuclear.
Yeah.
So shout out to Sam last night.
Amazing.
Let's go, Sam. That's fucking awesome. I'll give a shout out to brother Jeremy. I texted him a couple days in a row now, and this will be the third day. So brother Jeremy is one of my beta readers for the shitty first draft of my novel, which is a rock and roll novel, and I really wanted his input, just being in the music industry and everything. Ethan, I know you're a smart dude, and I know we just talked about how you got good grades and everything, but holy shit, his attention to detail, like not just with the music stuff, but in general, like some of the plot and storylines and everything has been unbelievable. Like, so the music stuff has been obviously the most helpful and everything, but there have been like little parts here and there where I'm like, I again, this is why we have beta readers and fresh eyes that look at it, because I've read it like 3,000 times and I can't pick up on these things or whatever.
Right.
So shout out to Brother Jeremy. You've been a really big help so far. Sorry that the shitty first draft is truly very shitty, and everything. But yeah, I'll just give a shout out to him.
And we got to, speaking of him too, we got to have him back on the pod. He wanted to come back on. I think he maybe even mentioned August. We got to ask him because his band has some new shit coming out.
Yeah, when the new album drops, definitely, hell yeah.
Yeah, so we got to have him back on too.
Yeah,
maybe I should. Well, I would say send him some Switchback. He's in fucking Vermont. He can get Switchback. But maybe I send him a beer or something for the pod. I don't know.
Yeah.
That'd
Well, Brother Jeremy, text me for whenever you want to come on the pod. Don't text your brother. We'll make it happen. But all right, boys, we did it again.
Right. Yeah, we did it.
Say it, Matt.
Beaver Valley is a stupid name for a stadium. We are bad at designing mascots. Why